Come to me, confess your love, at least just say, confess your love, and let me say, confess your love, and pump out some, confess your love, and let me say.
Got another very special Kevin Cars review. I'm here with Abel and his 1984 C4 Corvette. It is blazing here in Georgia, huh?
1988.
What did I say?
84.
Oof. I am here with Abel and his 1988 C4 Corvette. It's a very, very, very special car. She starts right on.
Yeah.
You have no idea when you're dealing with classic cars. You can tell that the car has been well taken care of the moment you turn the key. And this car has been very well taken care of, right?
Yes, since I've had it.
Yeah.
It sat for a little bit, so it took some time to get it there.
You'll see it in all the shots. Like, this car is immaculate. This dark blue metallic is some of the richest paint I've seen. Mind you, it's like 37 years old. I don't know many 37-year-olds that are in the same condition as this paint. I think that C4s are the most underrated Corvette generation. Tell me a little bit more about like how you even got into like the Corvette game.
Corvettes were never even on my radar. I think I was scrolling, just looking at cars. I was like, well, what else can I add? I stumbled across a couple of C4s and I'm like, this is a really attractive car. Did some research, just thought the history was cool. Started looking and then came across this one, test drove it, and I said, okay, let's wrap it up.
Feldman's in Atlanta too. Second of all, you know I'm vacillating here trying to...
With the Wrap It Up box, you've got that same power right in your pocket.
You only test drove one, right?
Yes.
Before you bought this. I think I test drove 5. Had one that was under contract. It's a 96 collector's edition. 6-speed car, beautiful. I flew to go see the car 3 times, and on the 3rd time I went to go see it, I hadn't deboarded the plane, and the guy told me that the car still wasn't ready. And
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
at that point, I had to make a decision because I had only bought a one-way ticket. This is the prime example of what a C4 is supposed to be like in the grand scheme of things of all Corvettes that are out there. You have the C3, which it looks cool until you drive it, and then when you drive it, you're like, oh shit, this is a car from the 60s.
Yep.
And then you have the generation after this one, which is the C5, which, you know, started out with the LS1. To me, I don't think that the C5 is a very attractive car.
Catch me outside, how about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
I also think that the price premium you pay for the C5, especially for the base models, doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very different car, but if you're looking for that old school kind of like classic feel,
Yes.
I think that the C4 is probably the last Corvette you can get that in.
Agreed. Yeah, because I'd looked at a couple of C5s, not in person, but just searching for another car. And I agree. I love 80s.
It's a Corvette, so it has a V8 L98 engine, 245 horsepower, 330 foot-pounds of torque. Those are about 3,000 pounds or so.
Yeah. I don't know the exact number, but
Yeah. Light, right?
Yep.
So this has more than enough power for you to feel confident even in 2025 traffic. And this is a 4-speed auto car. In 1988, it still had the 4+3, right?
yes.
Why are you doing this? Why are you even thinking this way?
I think the 6-speed didn't come out till 89.
Correct.
I had a 6-speed car. It was a 94, and that was the LT1. I enjoyed it for what it was. However, after driving the 4-speed car, I think I'm in love with the 4-speed. I know that sounds goofy.
Weird. Buddy, you're weird.
And especially if you're planning on dailying this and you're in a place like Atlanta or New York or LA where you have lots of stop and go traffic, the 4-speed is kind of the way to go because the 6-speed car is not an easy car to drive. A lot of people don't know that there's manual cars, and then there's C4s, the Mustangs of the world that have heavy clutches.
And the footwells are so small.
Yeah.
To get a third pedal in there.
I am very conscious of where my feet are in the footwell because it's so small, and because your car doesn't have a third pedal, you actually have more space. If you aren't the best at driving stick, or live in a place that has a lot of traffic, or you have big ass feet at the 4-speed, you've had to put a good amount of like money and time into this in order to keep it at spec.
Yes.
Granted, it is a car with lower miles, and that typically means that it hasn't been driven as much. But what are some of the things you had to like take care of that are like typical like C4 things?
It left me stranded the day I bought it, which was not a good sign.
Typical,
like, oh shit.
Typical classic car stuff. I'm gonna leave you stranded the moment your money leaves your bank account, so that you know what you're in store for.
Yes.
So what was the problem? Why did it leave you stranded?
Anyone listening knows about these cars. They know about the VAT system. It actually was not the VAT system. It was a poor electrical connection. Loosened up over the years, and once we found it, I have not had an issue starting it. Once I did start driving it, intake manifold gaskets started leaking. Pretty typical. You start getting some of those little seepages. So had that done. I had valve cover gaskets done. They were starting to seep. Power steering was starting to leak. And then coolant. I had a little bit of a coolant.
Let's talk a little bit about C4 cooling. Operating temperature for a C4 is 230 degrees.
Whoa, it's hot out here, man. It is hot today. You know it's hot out. Yeah, I just said that. I said it's hot out here.
Yes, that is higher than the boiling temperature of water. When I first got mine, I was terrified.
Yes.
I looked at the temperature gauge and it said 228, and I pulled over.
Yep.
Look, I've been in the car scene for 15, almost 20 years, and I've never run into a car that has this reverse flow cooling system, which means that the temperature that it takes up is higher. So it's technically not running any hotter than any other car. It's just that where it reads is higher, which should be a big disclaimer that, hey, like, showing a normal person that your car is running at 200 degrees is kind of alarming.
Yeah. And then especially when you get in Atlanta stop-and-go traffic, cruising down the highway, this will sit at, 200 easily. 190 to 200 is typically depending on the ambient temperature. But once you start getting into traffic and it starts creeping up to 230 before the fans kick on, it's a little alarming.
You give that information to an everyday person that doesn't care or doesn't know anything about cars, they're going to freak out. And even car enthusiasts like us also freak out because there are forums all over the internet with people asking, is this normal? Is this normal? Is this normal? And for C4s, it is normal. The Z52 package comes with the upgraded brakes, but the suspension isn't as hard as it is in the Z51 package.
Correct, yes. It has additional oil cooling, engine cooling, the bigger brakes. It has the bigger wheels on it, which were big for 88.
245 on a car that weighs, 3,000 pounds is more than enough rubber for you to feel confident in the dry and in the wet. You put modern tires on these cars, and they transform. Like, they were already good handling cars to the point that SCCA banned the C4 and put them in their own class because all the competition couldn't keep up. Imagine a car that handled in the 80s with tire technology from 2025. A lot of the cars that we think handle really well only handle well because the tires are really good. Tire technology is jumped. We don't give tires enough credit. This feels very confident. I had Pilot Sport 2s on my car, and it made it so that the car felt insanely confident, even to a point where, like, I would get out of my C4, get into, like, the Cayman or get into the 911, and I'd be like, I kind of miss the C4.
Yeah.
Because the C4 had good enough power, but not enough power to make you feel like it was overpowering the chassis in a sense.
Now that I'm confident, I find myself saying, I want to take this to work today instead of, my daily, which is a modern car or one of the other classics.
Yeah, we got to talk about some of Abel's other cars because they're cool too. And
this one's just, it's easy. You jump in it, turn the key, and you go, and it's fun. You feel confident in it. I typically don't drive it in any sort of weather because I don't need to, but I have been stuck in weather and it is perfectly fine.
I am extremely extremely grateful that you allowed me to get behind the wheel of a car with 26,000 miles that's almost 40 years old, because I feel like every single mile you put on this is special.
Yes.
My car had 121,000 miles on it. You know, I was like, all right, well, what's another 100? You know, right? We're doing the shoot, we're doing all the content to showcase how beautiful this car is. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I gotta make sure we take the shortest route, because I don't want to put any more miles on this car.
I say drive it. It's not like it has 100 miles on it and it should, you know, be in a museum. There's a few little imperfections here from driving it and enjoying it. That's what I intend to do with it.
You're 100% right. Cars like these, I mean, it's a shame not to drive it all. And the sounds, it sounds like an 80s V8. The torque is what you're here for. Like, could have let it spin out, but I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
You can ride the wave of torque and be totally confident that you're not going to get rear-ended by some minivan that's doing 20 over, right? Like, you have more than enough speed and more than enough pace to keep pace with traffic and to outpace traffic if you feel like you want to.
I've had no concerns keeping up with traffic, you know, getting out of the way if I need to, or,
You have to with a C4, because a lot of these large crossovers, they can't see you.
Yeah, yeah, and this is so low to the ground.
Look, I love automatic. I don't have to put in the clutch. I just push the brakes and then wait for the car to slow down. And then once this Tacoma, you know, finishes going into this driveway at 2 miles an hour, I can take off and continue my journey. You do have other cars.
Yep, I had a 1988 560 SL. My daily is in a 2011 Infiniti G37X coupe. And then my partner, he has a 97 SL320, a 99 CLK 430, and then his daily is an 02 C240.
The first time I saw you, I hadn't met you. I saw you driving, and I was in West Midtown.
Yes.
And you drove by, and I saw that it was a 560, and I said, yo, that's a 560. And you look back, and I was like,
Yeah.
not only is it a clean SL, but it's a motherfucking 560.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I like that guy. I've never even met that guy.
The 560 SL, not that one, but the 560 SL is what got me into cars. There was one in my hometown. I saw it in the 4th grade and fell in love with it. And
What was it?
white with the burgundy interior. It was an 86. Her son went to the same school as me, so I would see it in the, you know, the lineup, the parent pickup.
That's crazy, getting picked up
Yeah.
from school and that. Like, there are so many things that the normal man has to deal with that you don't have to deal with, because this is the lifestyle you have been blessed with.
My grandma knew her. She let me look into the car. The owner's name was Shirley. Then she said, about the time you're ready to drive, I'll be ready to sell. She asked me when I was 15. She saw me at school one day. And so I ran home to my parents. And my parents, they called her up and they were like, we weren't planning on this, you know? And she said, you know what? Well, I'm just going to list it high. If it doesn't sell, maybe we can talk about it in a year when he turns 16. My parents surprised me with it for my 16th birthday.
Oh.
And so...
Was that your first car?
It was my first car.
That is one of the coolest cars that I have heard as a first car.
It had some miles on it. I mean, that car never let me down. And so that's why I ended up purchasing another low mileage one several years back. And so that's the current one that I have. It had 277,000 miles on it when I ended up getting rid of it.
277,000 miles?
Yep. And I had it about 8 years.
How many miles did you put on it?
It had about 200,000 on it when my parents got it, so.
Original engine and everything too?
Yep, original engine. It was a great car to learn on. I learned a lot with my dad about cars.
Is your dad a car guy too, or is he kind of like...
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have those growing up, but he had a 914 like way before I was born. I mean, he appreciated them.
Kind of like my dad too. Like, my dad had some cool cars. He had an Oldsmobile 442, a couple other light cars here and there, but nothing like particularly like crazy.
Yeah.
But my dad is a retired Air Force mechanic, so he taught me how to wrench like super early. And that's part of the reason why I got in the cars, is because it was something that I could work on. Like, I was helping my dad work on my mom's car, his car, whatever it may be, and I like took it on and became an engineer because I was so fascinated with mechanics.
Admittedly, I don't do any work on my cars, and I am not very mechanically savvy. I could change a tire if I need to. My dad taught me basics. I changed oil with him when I was, a teenager, and taught me how to know the basics.
Do you think that you have to wrench in order to truly appreciate a car?
Show me your hands! Just as I thought. Soft as a baby's head. Well, look at these hands! These are the hands of a working man!
No, and this is where I was going, is I think cars are beautiful. So I appreciate more of the art of them, the styling, the feeling that it gives you when you're behind the wheel of it. My 560 SL, that's probably my favorite car. I love that car, and it's just because of memories and the status symbol that Mercedes was back then.
What? Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
It's a very different experience than this car. I will say that car, I love just cruising along in it. I love driving this.
The C4 is a driver's car. L98, LT1, LT4, ZR1, like they all handle well and they make you feel confident. I think it was like a car and driver review, but they basically said that like the C4 Corvette was just one of the easiest cars to drive fast.
Yes.
Which is saying a lot for an American sports car from the 80s when American cars were notoriously bad at handling and braking. The C4 Corvette was basically what started looking at the Corvette as a world-class sports car instead of a lightweight vehicle with a strong engine. The C4 Corvette is the first Corvette that can handle. It's the first Corvette that can brake. The C3 Corvette, I'm trying to tell you guys, like, they're beautiful cars. You can appreciate them as art. But when you get behind the wheel of them, you realize this is a car that I feel like they designed with an abacus. No shame against C3s. Like, I still want to drive one and review one.
They're beautiful, and they're nice to drive. It's more of a cruiser. It doesn't really have the sports car feel, especially the early 80s.
Yeah, they came out with a Corvette that had like less than 200 horsepower. It's just like, what is this? Is there anything else you want to do to the car, or is it more or less whatever thing comes up you'll just take care of, or do you have any additional plans?
Yep, it's maintenance. So with all of my cars, I like to keep them as original as possible. We talked about the upgraded exhaust on this. The only reason that's on there is it needed a new exhaust. That was part of the maintenance that needed to be done. I said, well, let's put something that makes a little more noise, that's not too crazy, but because you can always find an original exhaust and put it back on. Just keeping it going, keeping it on the road for people to enjoy.
I love that. I love that. Is there anything that is like this C4 that you would recommend to some of the people that are going to watch this?
I think it's a good car to get into for someone who wants maybe that sports car feel without the cost, If you're looking at like 911s of the era, the Ferrari 308.
Yeah, Ferrari.
328, I guess, would be the late 80s for that.
Yeah,
Relatively,
like, the Japanese also had the Mark III Supra, Mazda RX-7. You can probably put that in the same realm.
I mean, this is relatively inexpensive to maintain, and they're relatively easy to work on if you choose to do that, or if it's someone who enjoys doing that. And then, there's a ton of them. You can find them with like 60,000 miles on them.
This is a Kevin Carr's review, and Abel, I appreciate you for spending the time to come showcase this beautiful car to us.
Of course, you're welcome. I've enjoyed it.
Peace.